So I just came back from teaching a workshop for my daughter's class on emotions and feelings and how to communicate and, just the language of our emotions and being human, essentially. And it was so lovely. It's so wonderful to work with children because they're so in that process and they haven't yet been kind of like, dare I say, jaded by the world and by experience. And so they're kind of very open and they're still like sponges and they're willing to receive. And it was just so like deeply fulfilling to work with them. It was so lovely. It was so fun. But what I really recognize is, I've worked 15 years with adults, and one of the big aspects that I work on with adults, especially when it goes into, our emotions and our belief systems and our wounding, is we work with the inner child. And so it's so beautiful to be actually working with children, kind of preteens, not exactly, but kind of getting there. And to see that it's like, yeah, God, it starts from such a young age, like the overriding, prevailing, limiting belief that I see in people is that I'm not good enough. That's the belief that they come down to, is I'm not good enough. It could be better. I should be this way. I shouldn't be that way. And there's, we can be really hard on ourselves. I just put out a podcast episode on that. We can just be, how are the ways that we can be hard on ourselves? So it's so beautiful to be able to work with them at a young age, where it's like, if they can get this, like how to be with their emotions and how to not judge their emotions and how to really be and understand this, most especially with anger and sadness, where those were the two primary ones that we worked on, because those are the most challenging. And just to like begin from that point of, it's okay to feel. There's nothing wrong with you. You are inherently and innately good enough. But it starts young, folks. It really starts young. And, I could say that there's various reasons for it. The way that our society is set up, the way that we're educated and even parented, if we don't have the awareness of it. But I also think that it's part of the human arc. Like, we all have our wound, we all have our stuff, our story. Maybe we even came into this life with it, but we have something that makes us human, that brings us into the forgetting of who we truly are, like the magnificence of who we are. And then through the process of like going through the shadowy bits and actually really learning to love and embrace all parts, we remember who we are again. And then that arc is really beautiful. The remembering is really beautiful, because in that and through that we evolve. But I just feel really like filled up right now. I feel so grateful, and I just love this work so much. And I really love working with groups, and with children, it's just a whole other, it's like this direct experience, And so it doesn't matter if I'm working with children or with adults, because it tends to be working with that part of ourselves anyway. But it was beautiful to see their receptivity. And one thing that I left them with is like, they're the future. And as a class, they're a community. And it's learning how to, they're individuating. So it's like, it's okay to individuate into who you are. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to have a feeling. It's okay to have your truth. But how can you express it in a way that is like taking self-responsibility, and how can it be a collaboration rather than this, like, because kids can really get into this, no, I'm right, no, I'm not right, and then I say kids, but all you got to do is look online and you see adults doing the same exact thing. And so it was really looking at, how do you become a community that collaborates, where each one of you matters and your feelings matter, but how do you communicate and interact with each other where you have respect, where you honor, where you can be your individual, unique, authentic self, but that you also recognize you are in a community. And just, handing over that kind of baton of like, you are the future, and you have the ability to make a beautiful world, but part of it has to come through collaboration, right? And I think as adults, we can really, really learn from this. Sometimes you look at kids, and if you leave them to their own devices, if they get into a squabble, they're actually really good at finding a solution, because they're kids and they want to play, they want to work together, and they can't stay in an argument for too long, whereas adults can get like jaded and hold grudges, and we get a little bit set in our ways. And I think sometimes we need to remember that kind of, that childlike innocence and openness to actually really want to collaborate. Because at the end of the day, they know that maybe for a moment, if they're right and they win, it might feel good for a moment. But at the end of the day, it doesn't create harmony. It doesn't create that team, community, collaborative way of being with each other. So we need to remember that, I think, as adults, that it's like, yeah, does it feel good? Does it feel good if we're just being right, but actually we're not in collaboration with our fellow humankind? So it was lovely to be able to hold the space and to be able to guide it and to witness them in just their openness. And yeah, I just think this is how we change the world, is that we really learn to not be ashamed of our humanity. And we learn the beauty and the wisdom and the unique language of our emotions, and then how to really communicate with each other so that everyone gets to feel seen, heard, and understood, and accepted and loved for who they are, because that's ultimately what we all want, right? So yeah, just feeling a lot of gratitude for having had that experience, and to be doing this work that I really love doing. And I really believe in us as humanity, that when we drop into our heart and we take care of our needs, so that we're not coming from survival, we're not coming from competition, we're not coming from a place of I'm not good enough. It's remarkable to me that that is like 99.9% of the time, doesn't matter the age, that's what it boils down to. And so my message is really like, you are good enough as you are. And there's just parts that need your loving attention, and parts that need to know you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be right. You don't need to win. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to prove anything. And that you get to be human, and that you get to be you, and that's okay. And that's enough. And that, you know what, everyone gets to be uniquely who they are. There is no competition. There is no right or wrong. We spend so much time arguing over shit. It's like so unnecessary. So just a beautiful reminder that I wanted to just share, and to just share in the joy of, I feel so blessed that I really love the work that I do. And yeah, that's all, folks. Take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye.